Hi guys, and welcome back to Guitar by Emily. As you can see, my setup is a little different today, and that's because I'm starting my very first podcast episode, and I'm going to be calling this podcast Rock Talk with Emily. I'm very excited to start this because there's so many bands that I love to talk about, different guitarists or maybe something going on in the music community. I love to just share my thoughts and opinions on things like that with you guys. I'm calling this a podcast because you don't necessarily need to watch the screen. If you want to just put this on while you're working out, going on a walk, driving in your car, there's nothing you're going to miss by just, listening and not watching the video. So this might be something great for if you just need something to listen to while you're working on something, but you don't want to get distracted by watching a video. So this is for you. This is going to be really fun. I've got a few other ideas for different episodes. I'm not sure how often I'm going to be doing this, but it is something that we are going to start here, and I'm super excited about it. Today's episode is really awesome, and we're going to be talking about the band Fly-In Formation. If you have not heard of them, you're going to want to stay for this one, and if you have heard of them, still stay because this band is awesome, and I can't wait to talk about them and talk about their new records. So yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, leave me a comment down below, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Let's get right into it. I'd also like to mention before we get going, I am wearing my merch today. If you like my sweatshirt, make sure you head over to my merch website. And I know this looks pretty girly. It's pink and it says just a small town girl, but I have lots of options. I have stuff for the guys, stuff for the girls, something for everyone. So make sure you go check out the merch and I would really appreciate it. All right, so Fly-In Formation. You may be wondering why I'm bringing this band up or, what is this band? You probably have some questions right now because they're not huge yet. But I do want to bring some attention to them because, number one, I actually absolutely love the band. I think they're incredible, and I think they are going to be so much bigger in the future, and I think that it's great to bring awareness to them right now because these guys, they're amazing musicians, and they have some big potential to hit it big, and I really hope that they do. But also, I am friends with Dante Friziello, and if you guys don't know who Dante is, he is Steve Vai's rhythm guitar player, and he's also in this band, and he produces solo music as well, but he is an incredible musician, and you need to go check him out. But he also is the one that is the reason that I started this channel. You've probably heard me say it before if you've been around for a little bit. I was at a Vai concert and I got to talk to him after the sound check a little bit, and he was so kind and was inquiring about my music and, my career choices. I told him at the time I was going into pre-med. I've switched to nursing. Pre-med was just a little bit too much time consuming. I couldn't do both, but with nursing, that allows me to do, career and music, mesh them together and get to do both. So I'm very happy I did that. Anyways, at the time I was in pre-med and he had gone through law school and was a lawyer while he was working on all of this. And that really gave me some big time motivation that, hey, I can do this while I'm in school. I can still work on music because if he went through law school and could do everything that he did, I know I can do this. So that was number one amazing piece of advice. But then he also told me that I should consider starting a YouTube channel to document my progress and just to kind of share my music with the world because it is a little bit unique. 19-year-old girl that is absolutely obsessed with 80s rock. So I think that's something that, that could be my little niche on YouTube. He told me to get an Instagram. I'd never had Instagram in my life. I know that's kind of weird for a teenager, but a couple weeks later I got Instagram and I got a message the very day that I had started Instagram from Dante, just encouraging me, and he was my first follower. Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy. He's just been so supportive of the entire journey. And I have, discovered more and more about him and his personal career after, kind of becoming friends and talking a little bit online. He has asked me if I would make a video about the band. Don't let that fool you in thinking that I'm just making this because I feel like I have to or he's wanting me to. This is a video that I probably should have already made, and it just didn't come to me. I really do love this band, so keep that in mind with everything I'm saying. Although he did ask me to make this video, that doesn't mean anything. I absolutely would be making this video anyways, and his opinions do not change my opinions at all. I first really started listening to Dante's solo music, which, yes, you should check that out, but after, becoming more involved in listening to his music and being part of his subscribers on Instagram, he was hyping up the new release of Flying Formation's music. And at the time, I wasn't really sure what Flying Formation was. I knew he was in the band. I didn't know what they did. I didn't know if it was instrumental, if they sang, if it was pop, rock, indie. I had no idea what it was. So he's hyping up this new music. So I go in and I do a deep dive into what they've already released. And I automatically realize it is kind of electronic, techno, instrumental, rock, so many things blended into one. And it's really cool. And I automatically kind of fell in love with the way that it sounds. It sounds fun. It almost sounds like it could be like video game soundtrack. And I think that's really cool. And I like the fusion of kind of like the rock and the techno and the electronic. So that was my first kind of experience with this music, kind of going back to their older stuff. And of course, after that, when the new music was released, I did listen to all of that. So enough with my personal experiences with the band. Let's just do a little dive into this band, what they've previously released, who they are. Let's just talk about that for a second. So I'm on YouTube Music right now, looking up kind of like their discography and their albums. And it looks like their first release was in 2021. They have a single called Horses in Spring, which I highly recommend that song. I think it's very cool. And that comes off the album Physical Architecture. So this is the album that they first released in 2021. It has 5 songs on it. I do believe I've listened to all of these songs and I do love them. I would recommend listening. I think everything is well composed. And I'm not really sure how they put the album together, if it was self-produced, if they hired out someone to produce it for them. That's something I'm not sure of. But however they did it, their production sounds very nice. I think everything sounds very professional, and I really, really do love it. So that is the first album, and that is kind of like our springboard into the next step, and that is what I'm kind of here to talk about today, is their brand new album, One Within. This came out this year. I believe it came out in March or April. I don't remember for sure, but this album was definitely hyped up. Again, I wasn't on social media and I wasn't following these guys when they released their first album, so I'm not sure how all of the build up to that one was, but they did incredible this year with the marketing for this album. They had some fun little skits they put together to promote the release. They even had a big major scandal that they had proposed that the album got leaked early. And that was really fun. It just kind of created some buzz around the album for people who maybe weren't interested in just seeing, hey, buy our album. But if you see a video that is kind of funny or a skit, you might be a little bit more interested, and then later, go and download that music. So I think that is one big thing that is very important for a new artist or an upcoming artist or band, is promotion of music. And they have nailed that. They've done very well getting themselves out there. And yeah, that is one thing I'd like to mention. They've done very well on that front. The album One Within has 6 songs on it and a total of 29 minutes altogether. So jam-packed with incredible music from some incredible musicians. Another thing that accompanied this release was release of tabs for, I think, all the instruments and backing tracks. So that is something that a lot of bands don't do. And as other musicians, we appreciate that very much, because when you hear something, as a guitarist, I automatically want to know what's going on there and want to be able to play it. And now learning by ear is very good, and it is something that everyone should be working on. These pieces are very complex. There's a lot going on. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to pick out exactly what this guitarist is doing at that time. And these tabs make it super easy to follow along with the backing tracks and learn the songs, or learn a piece of the song, or find out what's going on during a certain part so that you can play it yourself. And, they made it easy for any musician, whether you like the drums, the bass, or the guitar, and I believe the keyboard. You can learn and you can follow along and listen. Another thing I'd like to mention is these tabs were made directly by the musicians in the band. They transcribed every part exactly like it is in the record, so these are tabs you can trust. These are tabs that you don't need to worry about them being wrong. I remember Dante talking about how, time-consuming it was to do this, but they wanted it to be right. So I appreciate that. I really like that they took the time to do that, and that makes me feel better when I sit down to read these tabs and learn. I don't have to be working my brain to think, is this right? I know that it already is. So Dante did send me the tabs for all 6 songs just so I could, look at them, and for making the video, he sent them to me, and I appreciate that. I'm going to include the tabs for the song we're going to be listening to in a minute so you guys can learn along, but I really, really encourage you to purchase the entire tab collection. I think it's really going to help you out. And even if maybe this music isn't your exact thing, maybe you don't like instrumental music, I think you can learn a lot from learning these songs. So I really encourage you guys to go purchase their tabs. When we open up the tab book, it is a digital download. I would like to read you a little bit of what comes in the introduction, and this is written by the band. One Within is the product of almost 4 years of multifaceted development. That development covered many roads: musical, personal, career, friendship. The list goes on and on. This record is a representation of all the growth we have made as a band and as people in every one of these ways and more since 2021. If physical architecture was the band's blueprint, the sketch concept schemed by Dante in his own little world, One Within is the built foundation touched by the hands of everyone and taken much further in its imagination, its melody, and its motivation. It's still not a finished house per se, but it's a huge step forward for us. I really like the way they worded that. They're kind of springboarding off of what they did in 2021 with physical architecture. And this is definitely, I can definitely hear the step up in this album. Not that the first one was bad at all, but I can definitely hear that they put in some insane work on this album. I'm going to read a little bit more. This record is more advanced than the previous one in absolutely every single aspect, and that's why we feel it's deserving of such well thought out transcription books. This was our incubation period where as a band we began to feel the power of our combined voices and the power of a unified organism where the cell and each member have a distinct role to support life within. Musically, we've gone further with some truly ambitious and difficult riffs, rhythmic concepts, sound design, and arrangement. On this record, each band member started to really feel the power of their voice and their contributions, and what we've created in the final analysis is something we are all extremely excited about and proud of. That's really well written. There's always going to be someone out there who can play faster than you, who can play cleaner than you, who can do something you can't. And that's exactly why we made this record. Because ultimately, as competitive as we can be sometimes, music is about one thing: creating a community of listeners who enrich their lives emotionally from music and the performance of it. It's a shared vibe of happiness, joy, energy, and forward motion with us as your vibe-setting leaders. That is awesome right there. That is some good advice. There's always going to be someone better, faster, can do something you can't. But that's not the point of music, to compare yourself to it. It's to learn from it and to learn from other musicians' creations. I think that's great. Here's a little statement from the band. We're not here to play the weirdest, fastest, and hardest notes. We are not here to turn the guitar into an Olympic sport. We're here to take you on an emotional journey through the deepest and most honest parts of our souls. We are here to uplift you, to inspire you, to make you feel strong, bold, powerful, colorful, unique, and exceptionally happy to be alive. Our goal was to make extremely energetic, positive, and uplifting, catchy, and memorable music that can accompany you for a lifetime. Fly in Formation is a rock band, and we will never be anything else. We will never be an Instagram phenomenon. This music is about uplifting you to be the most fiercely independent and excited version of yourself. And they go on to thank everyone for buying the tab book, and they thank the member Reese. He's the other guitar player, I believe. He looks like he transcribed mostly everything for the book. And all of these words are signed off by Dante, Brendan, Reese, and Nathan, the members of Fly in Formation. So all of these guys are incredible musicians, and I think it is great that in this kind of introduction to the book, they really let you know what they are about, how they feel about the music, and it really shows that they are a unit of musicians and they work really well together. And I think that's important when listening to music. You know, I would much rather listen to a band's music and a group of musicians that love working together and created this together than a group of people who hate each other and are just working together because they have to. And I feel like it really shows in the music when the musicians are, you know, really feeling unified and able to work together. I could continue. There's more words written in the beginning of this book, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave that to you if you purchase the tab book, which I highly recommend that you do. Before we move on, just to close off my opinions on the tab book, I think it's really fun to read. I think that they've made it very easy to read and follow along with. Each section is properly, marked, and you know where you're at when you're reading it. You don't get lost in just the sea of a bunch of notes, because they are so many notes on the page, and sometimes it's hard to figure out where each part is when you're listening to the song. But they make it very simple, and there's clear markings of different, parts and where it's going into maybe a different kind of sound, or if you should change your guitar tone or anything like that, and they make it super simple. So I really appreciate the way they've constructed this tab book. I think it's incredible, and I think you should go buy it right now. But before you buy it, you're probably thinking, well, I don't know any of their music. Why would I just go buy a tab book? Well, today I'm going to be listening with you to one of their songs off their new album, and I'm going to put my headphones on and do a little reaction. Like I said, I've already listened to all the songs on this album, but I haven't listened to them recently. Some of the songs I've only listened to one time just because life is crazy and I've not gotten back around to kind of listening to it again. So I'm very excited to listen to one of these songs with you today, and hopefully you enjoy it. I may stop it and leave some comments and do this like a real reaction video, but if you're ready, I'm ready. Okay, today I'm going to be listening to the song Caterpillar Club. I think this is probably my favorite song off the new album, and I think it's a really great one to give you an intro into this band. All right, here we go. All right, before we get into that little guitar solo, I'd like to just talk about the beginning of that. How fun is that intro? Like, can we just talk about the entire vibe that just set? It made me smile, made me, bang my head a little bit. And I think they did a great job of capturing that energy of positivity, like they said in their book, that's what they wanted their entire vibe to be about. And I hear that, and I think you guys can hear that. And that's a catchy little riff. I don't know about you, but I'm going to have that riff stuck in my head. So that is a great sign of being an awesome song if you can already sing along. And even though it's instrumental, they've given you something that you can, hear and love the sound of and sing along to. So I think that's important in instrumental music. Instrumental music is hard to tackle because you're not saying any words. You're not giving the people a direct, interpretation of what they're writing about. You have to kind of feel it through the notes. And I think they've already done that. So let's keep going. Let's hear this guitar solo. This guitar tone. All right, I'm just going to stop it for a second. Those guitars are beautiful. I think in the clip that we just listened to, I could hear both Reese and Dante playing. I may be wrong, but I think I heard two different guitar tones. And I'd also like to mention that I'm pretty sure that the guitar is a 7-string, and that's what's giving that really low-end kind of rock feel. And I think it sounds really cool. It's very melodic. I can hear Vi in this, even though it's not Steve Vai. I'm not comparing it to Steve Vai. This is a different genre, but I think it's cool that you can hear Vai in Dante's playing, even though he does have his own original style. Let's keep going. This is where I'm hearing that techno kind of dance music. I hate to stop it in the middle there, but I love how they build everything up with the drums and the guitars, and everything is just coming together, and then they kind of just drop it back down and go back into, the original melody. I think they've composed this very well. It creates that high energy feel, and it's musically pleasing. It's easy to listen to, and I'm not quite sure how to put it into words what I'm thinking about this, but yeah, I think it's really cool the way that they just built that up, and those drums were just pounding, and then it just kind of like drops out, and then you hear that guitar come back in. Super cool. All right, guys, what did you think of that? Leave a comment right now. I think that was so fun to listen to. I forgot how much I loved that song. And one thing about this band that I think is the main thing that sticks out that makes this band different than anything else is that they let each band member shine equally. This is not a band, the guitar is the main focus, or obviously it's not that the singer is the main focus, but I can hear the drums, and I appreciate everything that's going on with that. I hear a bass line, I hear the guitars, I hear some keyboard techno stuff going on. I hear it all, and it almost takes a couple times to listen to it to fully appreciate everything that's going on. And I think that kind of just shows you their attitude about the whole band. Like we talked about before, they're a unit. Each one gets the same amount of spotlight to shine in, and I think that's really cool. That's probably hard to come by because egos typically clash, and that doesn't happen. But that's really awesome. I think that is something to greatly respect, that they do that, and I think it's very fun to listen to because it is different than other things in that regard. So yeah, that's Caterpillar Club by Flying Formation. I really love the song. I hope you guys loved it, and if you loved that, then you're gonna love the rest of their album because it pretty much has that same vibe, but every song is different. It's not one of those bands that, every single song they play sounds the exact same. No, this one, each song is fresh, but it still has the fun vibe to it. And they definitely do have that rock and roll presence, but I like that they do include the other elements and kind of fuse that together. But they did say that they are a rock band, and definitely they are. All right, guys. So yeah, make sure you go stream Flying Formation on all streaming platforms. They're everywhere. Make sure you go and watch their music video. They spent a lot of time and effort in producing their music video, and I will link it down below. And they did a really good job on it. They all had such a fun time. You can just tell filming, and it's just such a fun kind of beach atmosphere video. I think it was filmed in Florida, so that's really cool. So make sure you go watch that first, and then head over over, stream all their music. They have merchandise, so make sure that you check that out. I'll link that down below as well. I want you guys to go on Instagram and follow everyone in the band to support them, and so you hear about any new music coming. Make sure you check out their tab books and backing tracks. I want all of you guys to seriously go do something to support this band after you watch this video, whether it literally just be clicking on their music video or hitting subscribe on their YouTube channel. Go do it. It doesn't take any time and it doesn't cost any money to subscribe to someone, so please go do that, and I would appreciate it, and I know they would appreciate it so much. This was really fun. If you enjoyed me talking about this band, then make sure you give this video a like and you subscribe. I am so happy to be making this video for Dante and the band because like I've said a million times, I really do think they're awesome. I think they definitely have the potential to be the next big instrumental band. Polyphia? What? I'm just saying, I think these guys really have something going on. And I think if you guys jump on it now, you'll be like, hey, I was one of the first people to discover this band. So I'm hoping that in the next year or so, they really make it big. And I'd be so happy for them because I think they're doing a great job. So thanks again so much for watching. Thank you, Dante, for, asking me to make this video because I really enjoyed making it. And yeah, check out all the links I'm going to link. Make sure you check out my merchandise. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.